I want to thank one of our incredible sponsors, BrainTap. You may have listened to our podcast with the founder of BrainTap, Patrick Porter. And if you did, you'll definitely want to get involved in BrainTap. And if you didn't, please, I strongly recommend that you go back and listen. It's so incredibly informative. Here's what BrainTap can do. You can literally build your brain fitness with BrainTap's mobile app and wearable headset. Everyone here at Outcomes the Sun podcast has had and continues to have positive results with BrainTap. Your brain is guided from awake and reactionary patterns to intuitive and creative responses. BrainTap is backed by neuroscience and research and was developed by Patrick Porter himself. BrainTap creates a symphony of brainwave activity to optimize your brain's potential, restore your ability, balance your energy, and calm your brain. And listen, it is a game changer when it comes to sleep. This technology is truly a gift, and I am so incredibly grateful to be able to share it with you.
Hi, I'm Mariel Hemingway, and I'm here with my partner, Melissa Yamaguchi.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us on Out Comes the Sun. This is our Thanksgiving gratitude podcast because we wanted to, first of all, say thank you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for helping us these last few months kind of get our wheels on, and we feel like we're really moving forward and we're loving it. But today we want to talk about gratitude and really what that means for your brain, your health, your wellness, your happiness, your joy. So many meditations are focused on gratitude, thinking about something that you're grateful for. Often when I speak to people, I'll have them do 3 inhales and exhales, and then I'll say, think of something or someone that you're grateful for. And often I'll say, and I hope that someone is you, because often we forget to be thankful to ourselves for, being on this path and getting as far as we have. So, so today is about gratitude, Thanksgiving, and it's a special day for everyone. And I did a post on my Instagram a couple days ago, really at the beginning, Sunday, and really saying that that's what this holiday is about, is being grateful, being thankful for your life, your loved ones, this amazing earth that we live on, and really showing that hopefully more than just one day a year, but every day, waking up with gratitude, I think is so incredibly healthy and important for your mindset. Mm-hmm. So tell us what I'm sure you look stuff up because that's what you're so brilliant at.
Well, the most important thing about gratitude, I like when you said, hopefully it's not just one day, because what we often do is express gratitude for all the good things. Yeah. And so we're only grateful for all that is good in our life and when the light is shining. But there are kind of like in the dark, like me right now, with the way the sun is moving and the time change in California. But the gratitude must be practiced in a way where you're speaking and thinking gratefully every day. And when you get into that rhythm, it can completely rewire your brain.
Absolutely.
It can, because it's the easiest ways to boost your dopamine, your serotonins, all those feel-good chemicals that happen. And so what happens is it creates an intention. If you, like you said, wake up in the morning and say what we're grateful for. We've kind of bastardized Thanksgiving a little bit. And, a lot of the food that we now eat was never served in the beginning. It was more kind of a longevity food. It was really like blueberries and really healthier foods that were served at the first gathering. So we've bastardized it. But so if we're going to completely shift it from what it was, then with food and nutrition wise, let's at least take from that initial gathering of an understanding before things went awry. Why don't we take about this understanding of me helping you, you helping me? I'm grateful for everyone that's in my life. I'm grateful for the opportunity to just be, or to grow, or to recover, whatever we're going through. But it's oftentimes we only think, like I said initially, we only think about the negative. And we think, well, I don't have anything to be grateful for, because you're so bombarded with the dark clouds around you that you've got to strive, even no matter how minuscule, push for that positive thing. And by practicing it, you can create new neural connections in your brain. You
Yes.
become more resilient. You become more present. You become more intentional. And we don't want to wake up one day and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so many years old. Where did the time go?" That always pinches me wrong when people say this around me. Gosh, where did the time go? Well, live each day, express gratitude each day, and be
Daisy.
grateful.
Sorry,
I'm
Daisy's
grateful for
barking.
Daisy.
Daisy is barking. We don't know why. What's going on? It's okay. I think we're okay. Here, hang on. Yeah. No, you're so right it's about finding gratitude, especially in the places where there is darkness. When you
Mm-hmm.
can close your eyes and go, okay, my life, quote unquote, sucks, or it's just not
Right.
going well, or whatever. But there's always something. There's always a beautiful tree outside your window. There's
That's right.
always
There's something.
something that you can look at, that you can, your animal, hello, something that you can look to that's not you, maybe, because maybe that's very hard to grasp your head around, but there's something that you can be thankful for. And
Train your
it's
brain.
train your brain, and you do it in that habitual action really does create new neural pathways. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And I use gratitude um in daily, and I use it nightly. Often before I go to sleep, I'll think of you know what I'm thankful for. How did the day
Mm-hmm.
go? I kind of do a reassessment of how the day went, and I think, oh, I could have done this differently, but thank you so much. And oftentimes, and this is a practice that came through my kind of meditation practice, which is thanking things that are seemingly very, very challenging. For instance, and you know about this because we are best friends, and I called you
Mm-hmm.
about, I don't know, 10 days ago. I was traveling and I just had one of those days, just the worst travel day. I was so anxious. I, I couldn't remember I couldn't remember all, like I couldn't remember my tools, right? I was just falling apart.
Right.
You know, I'd forgotten Daisy's carrier, and they didn't have one at the airline. I went to many different airlines, and
Nothing was lining up.
nothing
Nothing
was
was lining
lining
up.
up. And then I got on the flight, and there was a maintenance problem. And of course, now that's when, sitting on that flight, I found a little bit of my grounded thinking, and I thought, okay, what in this is good? Well, it's really good that they're not taking off with a badly functioning plane, right? I'm
Right.
grateful that they're
Thankful
taking
that.
the
Thankful
time.
for that.
Yeah, be thankful for that. So it was trying to fine tune my way of thinking, and I'm not here saying that it was easy. It was tough, but I did find it, and I ended up, I spent the night in Atlanta. I was supposed to be home that night, and I didn't make it. I didn't make the flight, so I spent the night in Atlanta in a hotel, and blah blah blah. But as I was going to sleep, and I really did, like we do, I felt sorry for I felt sorry for myself. I was in the back of the plane because I'd missed that first flight, whatever. And I smiled to myself, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is exactly right. Like, I needed this for some reason. I couldn't quite figure it out quite then. But I
Not in the moment.
realized, no, not in the moment. And in retrospect,
Yep.
it was perfect. I felt, because the next day everything went smoothly. I got home and it was all fine. But it is in those challenging moments that you
Yeah.
have to practice. You have to use the muscle. You have to really see
I like that.
what works. You have to use it. So,
I like
yeah.
that you said that. I remember on one of our podcasts, I don't remember which one. Forgive me, but we were learning with Dr. Porter, and I refer to him a lot because we learned so much from him about the three brains we have. Right,
Yes.
the brain between the ears is like a computer holding all the facts and data. Turn left on First Street, turn right, whatever, and
Right.
then the stomach is the brain for taking the food and digesting it through the microbiomes and telling the body what to do with it. But the
Yes.
heart is the brain of feelings.
Yeah.
And oftentimes what happens is we get in our head when we're trying, we talked about that on one podcast we had with Viet, and we talked about getting into your head and forgetting all the other parts of how your body functions. So I know that in times of despair, I have someone very near and dear to me in my life, and he's had really some rough times. And when I've said, "You've got so much for which to be grateful," and he's saying, "What?" Like he can't. To me, it's so blatantly obvious. I can see it right in front of his face, literally, figuratively and literally. And when he's in that dark spot, he cannot see it, as though he's blind to it. So, if one is in that spot, then it is vital that you have those around you who excel at lifting and finding the silver lining and pointing it out. Even if you can't hear it, just continue to put that energy of uplifting around you, because, there's that old saying, rising tides lift all, rising boats lift all, rising tides lift all boats. The dog goes down when the moon barks. I don't know. I'm screwing all my euphemisms up, but it's something about rising tides lift all boats. So
That's
if
it.
you are feeling in moments of despair and you can't find that, what do I have to be grateful for? I owe all this money. I've got this going against me, whatever it is. You've got to find people around you. Reach out and just say, hey, you don't have to beg for anything, because there's always going to be someone, like I am to this person, who says, hey, I love you. I'm so glad to hear from you. You brighten up my day when you call me. And this person goes, why? Because
Right.
you do. I love you. So the other thing I want to say is, when I'm on stage and I'm talking to my audience, I always tell them, now this is going to sound like a stretch, but I'd like for you to just entertain the idea. I always tell my audience to write thank you when they get their bills. So when your bill comes in, write thank you across the top, and then remind yourself why you're thankful. It's the electricity bill. Thank you for keeping the house lit, for keeping the house cool in the summer, for keeping it warm in the
Absolutely.
winter. The gas, whatever, every single bill that comes in, even if you, oh gosh, this is such a high bill, or I can't handle this, whatever it is, write physically. I have a black Sharpie marker. And when I take my bill, sometimes to my CPA, he's like, thank you on every single bill. Yes, except yours. Yours, but
Right.
So it really is extending that gratitude, even when you think, oh, like you're a Ralph Cramden, you're upset about it. You still got to push through, and it shifts and changes everything. Not only your
It
neural
does.
pathways and the way you show up, but the way it
Well,
feels. You don't have dread.
that saying, fake it till you make it, keep smiling until you feel the smile. And you do, because those muscles actually turn that on. Here's another great way to find gratitude, is by giving it. So when you're in a really dark place, one of the best things that you can do is do something for somebody else, because it takes it away from it being about you. And when you can do something for somebody in need, or that, whatever, a child, a senior citizen, a neighbor, whomever it is, that all of a sudden that shifts your energy. And what you're talking about, writing thank you on your bills or whatever one does, that energetically just moves the energy into a positive place. I know that sounds a little woo-woo, but truthfully, the more positive that you put out there, the more positive comes back. Bobby and I, we look at each other's like business emails often, and when we're writing stuff, and when you're hot tempered about something, you really want to get a point across, and there's a lot of negatives, right? So Bobby will, he years ago, he was like, take all the negatives out. And at first I was like, oh, this is so annoying. But he's so right. It's like when you train a dog, I don't know if you know this, but when you train a dog, you don't say negatives to a dog. You say, you pee outside. You're a good
Yes.
dog. You do that. You
Very
do.
similar to how you raise children.
Right.
Very similar to how you raise
You
children.
say what you want, not what you don't want.
Yes.
Because what you
Yeah,
don't
that's the
want
laws of
doesn't
attraction.
right, and because
That's right.
what you don't want, you don't is what you will attract. Because you keep saying
That's
no,
right. You've
no,
already put
no,
it in your
right?
mind.
Exactly. So exactly.
No.
Daisy is crazy right now.
Daisy, you stay still. So
Just be grateful.
within reason, right? I think that it's so important, and I know it's hard. I've been in those moments where I've been so angry, so mad, I can't possibly see it. Billy and I, you've heard of that, or you've seen it, the little love tuner, little. Billy and I have this. I have one, and so whenever we've been in a disagreement, I'll pop it out and blow it. And I don't know what it is about this thing, but it's so ridiculous. No matter how angry I am, Billy's like, don't try to minimize, don't try to trivialize how I'm feeling right now. And I'm like, I'm not. And it somehow just kind of calms it down a little bit. My daughter calls it my baby kazoo, but it's just it's a shift in the energy. And I'm saying in feng shui, we do this thing where we move our hands around when there's been like a big disagreement or fight, is you kind of shift it. You shift the energy around you with this hand waving, because it breaks up this. If you imagine the molecules of anger coming out in spikes, right?
Yeah.
It shifts it around. So oftentimes when you'll see people saging a home to shift the energy, it's rare when they're just walking like this. You'll see them oftentimes in feng shui moving it in kind of this figure 8 infinity symbol, moving it in these large gestures to shift the energy. I've had people say to me, Melissa, isn't it just a placebo? And I said, well, placebos do work.
Right.
Because the power of you is so masterful.
Well, and
this power.
Yeah, and it's that thing that we talk about all the time. We're so much more powerful than we think. So if it takes you having a bit of magical thinking about something to get to a place where you just put that out there, you shift it. And let's face it.
It's true.
The world's made up of energy. I mean, you can be woo-woo or not woo-woo. You can't deny it. People that are extremely religious, their prayers to whomever whatever they believe in, those are, I mean, that's powerful stuff. And their belief and their strength of envisioning and all that stuff. And it all starts with, it gets back to being thankful. It's like you're thankful for that thing that you believe in, that thing that guides you. I mean, I love this. I love this conversation because I think that it's so important for people. It's such a simple thing to do that you can. It's so easily, it doesn't cost any money to just start being thankful. It's just the easiest thing to do. And I and getting back to kind of kids nowadays, I think that I don't know. I think that there's a loss of kind of teaching gratitude, teaching thankfulness.
Oh yeah.
We need to get back to, and that's not made just because I'm turning older today.
Well, it's not. It doesn't take a lot of talent to complain.
Exactly.
It's really easy to complain and to find a lot of stuff to bitch about. It really doesn't take a lot of talent.
Really does.
It takes an inner fortitude to kind of push through and just go, you know what? Everything appears to be not the way I want it to be right now, but okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm grateful I'm alive. I'm grateful my parents are still healthy. I'm grateful. Whatever you can do, you got to push through it.
Yeah.
And it does have a shift. There's a lot. I read an article, let me sidestep for a minute, and I want to make sure I'm finishing my sentences because it's one of my pet peeves when people go, I think, anyway, and they go off, and I'm doing it today. So please, I'm grateful for your patience with me. One of the things that I was reading this morning is that every generation thinks it has it harder than the one before, and the one that's in front of them.
Right.
However, according to some reports that I've been reading, this generation who ages 19 to about 25 really do have it very difficult right now, because a college degree doesn't ensure anything. Not that it did, but there was a different clout with it. They don't know what they're coming into. AI is on the rise. They've now even shown that computer AI voices can anticipate a reaction from the listener and then respond in a way that wasn't pre-programmed. So they're almost, the AI robots are moving and shifting the words around to anticipate the rhythm of response and then coming up with their own responses, which is a little bit crazy when you think about talking to online operators about your bill that you're grateful for or anything else. But this generation is facing so many unknowns.
Yeah.
And so I know there's a lot of mayhem. We hear, whether it's on social media, whether it's in the news, whether it's whatever. But we are human.
Yeah.
And we've said this before on our cast. We rely on each other. When you were going through the day from hell at the airports, I was your friend because that's what we do. I'm not just there for you to talk about,
all the good,
the babies,
right.
the babies and the puppies and the daisies. We're there for each other because that's how we lean. That's how we are. We lean on one another. So in gratitude, if you think your life is not where you want it, then look around to who is in your life, even if it's a neighbor that waves at you every day and you're isolated from family. Whatever the situation is, part of the biggest one of the things they do when people go to prison, when they're in court, is if the jury has found the person guilty and he or she doesn't make amends or acknowledge any role in it, then the possibility for parole is extended. Now, I don't want to get into a conversation about the people who've been wrongly imprisoned, but I'm talking about those who have done the deed and now are paying the time, done the crime and now they're paying the time, whatever it is. And so what they've shown is those who have come to terms with it and can show gratitude for, if you're in prison, Nelson Mandela, and you're coming up with some gratitude and things in your life for which you should be grateful. This is what saved Nelson Mandela. He said it ad nauseum when he got out. He wrote about it. He said, what saved me was me being grateful for the life I had and recognizing and acknowledging whatever I had done that wasn't maybe the best way to get my message across.
Yes.
So we can do this. We are stronger than we know.
Absolutely.
Like you just said, we're stronger than we know. We can dig deep, dig deep, find it. You can find something, one small thing. And if you can't think of it, write it on a Post-it note, stick it so that you roll over and you go, I'm grateful the sun came up. And then just keep moving. Whatever, if you're not feeling it, your brain will be
absolutely
tricked.
And it's having the intention. So either do something for somebody else or have grateful intention. So you don't necessarily, so you might be in that cloudy state of mind, but if you have a grateful intention, you make the intention, I will find my gratitude somehow. I can't see it right now, but that's my intention is there. And you make that intention. And I kind of do this around my heart because like you were saying, it is the heart where the feelings are. And that's where we feel the shift of the energy. And the irony is when you were talking about the stomach, and I love all that because again, we get back to our lifestyle and our choices and our food and all of that. It all works in concert. This whole thing is like this beautiful harmonic machine. It's very harmonious and it works together. So what you feed your body then makes your heart feel better, which makes your mind see things more clearly. The irony is when I was in the airport, and now of course I'm laughing about it because like, oh yeah, my life's so hard. Please, I never am saying that. I just think it was ridiculous. I was so upset. But I hadn't eaten all day. I was really hungry. I had too much coffee. It was that thing. I hadn't had enough sleep, right? So all of my lifestyle tools I had chopped a bit. So I hadn't planned, so that was a little off kilter. So you have to look at, that's why our brain and the balance of our brain really is this constant, maneuvering. It's a constant, how am I going to get through this day? How am I doing? I know today I flew back from Arkansas. I was making a movie and, we were filming till almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I had the early morning flight, and I didn't get enough sleep, and I knew I was tired, but I really set the day up because I knew that it was going to be like that. I knew I was going to have a late night. I knew I wasn't going to
Mm-hmm.
get enough sleep. So the night before, I got a tremendous amount of sleep, and I got on the plane. Everything was going fine. I did breathing exercises, and I meditated. I took a 20-minute just to be, and it was a grateful meditation, just finding out what was good, just seeing the
Mm-hmm.
glimmers of light. And it takes practice, right? These are not magic pills,
That's right.
they're but that's life. I think life is just such an amazing journey that every day should be this, like, wow, how can I make myself better? Now my circumstances weren't as good today as they might have been, but then I got home
Right.
early, right? And I forgot that we were meeting today, but that was just my brain wasn't
I'm
quite.
grateful you showed up.
But I came home, I had my routine, I ate, and I had a cup of tea, and I tried to really slow things down and find the
Yeah.
places where I could find my own balance. Now, and that's the thing, this journey of our life of gratitude, of constantly
Mm-hmm.
finding what's great about it, is I think it's a wonderful adventure. There's nothing but
It is.
gratitude for all of it. And I'm fortunate.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
there's when I grew up in the South, believe it or not, when I was little bitty, we would say prayers at school. You came into school and you had to stand, and then when the teacher would say your name for roll call, you had to respond with she'd say, Texas, and you had to give the capital. So there was this learning lesson, and then once all the kids got it, and one kid always forgot Rhode Island, but that's okay. We'll get to that another time. When we all sat down, we had to say a prayer, and it was very simple. And look, this is not me advocating prayer back in school. Please don't come at me. I'm not. What I'm suggesting is that it was this purposeful slow down time where the children expressed gratitude.
Yeah.
Now that there are many, many schools that I've been reading about in New York, and you and I've talked about this before on our free time speaking about that they're teaching the children meditation.
Yeah.
And it brings, no matter how chaotic the world is outside, they bring it in at school. So whatever the medium is, and it's a collective agreement upon, this slowing it down and teaching our children daily meditation, daily prayer, daily. It's you. When I first met you, which felt like about 50,000 years ago, because we've been around each other for a long time. When I first met you, the very first thing I heard you say was talking about rituals.
Yes.
So it's this ritual of what you're saying about gratitude. I love this intention. I love creating for yourself the ritual of drinking water when you get up,
Yes.
the ritual of stopping, you're slowing it down and saying what you're grateful for, whatever it is. These sustain us. They sustain us. We need to be sustained. The machine, you were describing the machine a while ago, and I kept envisioning a car. And I know that's a piss poor analogy, but just all the pistons and everything have to work in conjunction, and the light comes on and says change the oil, and the light comes on and says refuel, and we pay attention to that,
right?
But we don't pay attention to this machine as much. And I love this idea of intention and rituals that you've always talked about.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting to me because I think life is exciting, and I really am grateful every day, even though I have bad days, obviously, like everybody else, and whatever,
Yep.
and things can go wrong, but the irony is you get through your tough days, and then there can be really dramatic things. You can lose people that you love, or lose pets, or whatever.
Yeah.
But then there's
Yes.
always there is light around everything. I truly believe that. I really believe that when you have an intention or you have those rituals, it will guide you towards that grateful light, towards that light
Yes.
of encouragement, of keep going, of whatever it is that you need. And staying kind of youthfully curious, I think, is really important too. Keeping that curiosity, because I often look at Daisy, who is 9 months old, and she's so curious, and we're on the walk, she just like, and I think, I want to harness that. I want to have the intention to be that curious about the world that she's seeing for the first time, right? You see it in a baby. It's
Oh
just
yeah.
amazing. So I don't know. I just think there's a lot that we have to be thankful for, even if you don't see it right in the face of your life, right? It might not be obvious to you, but again, fake it till you make it. And thanks for joining us today, because I think that this is something that we can all work on all the time. I mean, I shouldn't even say
All the
work.
time.
We could just, and put our focus towards. So
I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for our producer, Slater Smith. I'm grateful for the light that you bring into my life, Mariel. And I'm grateful for the people who tune in and hear what we're sharing. And for those of you who take that message and share it with your friends and loved ones, we're thankful for that. Helping us get the message out is really big. It's not just about Mariel and me sitting at the tables talking, me in the dark, Mariel in the bright light talking. It's really about us getting our
yes,
messages across. And so for those of you that share our message, we are very
we
grateful.
are.
And I just I love you.
I love you too. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for our audience. And yes, I'm grateful for Slater too, who's in the background like a little man. Yeah, I don't know. He's a man behind the curtain. And I'm thankful to Daisy every single day.
Oh,
Have a wonderful holiday. Just have an amazing day this Thanksgiving, and continue that beautiful sense of gratitude throughout the year and every single day, every single moment. And join us next week for another Out Comes the Sun podcast.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Out Comes the Sun. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify, on Apple, and on YouTube. And you can donate to the Mariel Hemingway Foundation at the marielhemingwayfoundation.org. And I want to spell Hemingway for you, HEMINGWAY.org. I only say that because a lot of people put two M's, and that just won't work. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, you can go to the donate button at the bottom, and it will take you right to a link with the QR code. And if you go to marielhemingway.org, you can also press the donate button and be able to donate to the foundation, which is designed to help guide people towards finding the right solutions for their mental health issues. That is my goal. I'm just trying to raise money so I can come up with an app and a website that has all the information you could possibly want to know about mental health and where to go. But we are in the process of making that happen, and your donation means so much to us. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.